Here's a name that I didn't think I'd ever hear in the NFL again. Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly has been hired as the offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders. He's the highest paid coordinator in the league now, making over reportedly $6 million per year, more than the Jaguars' new coach to be their head coach. Chip Kelly is a man who is very much a part of a specific time in the place of football where things were transitioning from the more established, I don't want to say meta, but the more established ways of playing that included, playing it safe, not being risky, long drives, ball control. And then he came in to Oregon and implemented nutrition plans, conditioning plans. The idea was the Oregon offense is going to score quickly. They're going to score often. They're not going to huddle. They're going to go no huddle all the time, up tempo. They're going to exhaust the defense. The defense is going to get more and more exhausted. They're going to score more and more points. And they're just going to basically blitzkrieg their opponents into submission. And it worked really well. The got, to a national championship game with that, right? I don't think they won it, but Marcus Mariota looked incredible in that. And so the idea was we get Chip Kelly, we'll bring him in to the Eagles coming off of, the disaster that was the dream team. We'll have him replace Andy Reid. We got Michael Vick, we have LaShawn McCoy, we have Deshaun Jackson, we have, I don't know if Riley Cooper was already there or he gets drafted when Chip Kelly comes in, but regardless, they're gonna come in, they're gonna have like an up tempo, insane offense. We're gonna run teams out of the building. And I will say, those first few years in Philadelphia, it does well, for the first half of the first year, it does work. But the thing that's really haunted him, the thing that's followed him all these years is the fact that he is very much of the Napoleon type of a coach, the type of person who would like be like a tiny dictator almost within the football program. Something that works very well in college where, especially before NIL, these players really had no autonomy. They were at the whims of these colossal collegiate programs. And if they messed up or they got, on the bad side and they had to leave, maybe they don't ever get anywhere. They have to play on much smaller programs and they can't show out for the future for the NFL and potentially, you know, make a lot of money. Now it's a little different in the NIL, but like coaches like that really thrive in the NCAA where they don't thrive in the NFL. Look no further than Nick Saban, right? Very similar type of guy, won a national championship with LSU, came to the pros with the Dolphins, had some success early, but it didn't last, and he ended up going back to Alabama, becoming the greatest college coach of all time. And then once the players got some autonomy, all of a sudden Nick Saban's got to retire. He's got to work for ESPN. He's got to have Shane Gillis call him Alabama Jones and imply that he cheated by paying his players. I don't want to get it on that, but yeah, I do want to take a few shots at Nick Saban as a Dolphins fan. But yeah, that didn't work out for Chip Kelly. He goes, I think he replaces Jim Tom Sula with the 49ers after Harbaugh had the big falling out. Doesn't go well there. Then he becomes the head coach of UCLA, middling as well. And then he comes to Ohio State and he is like the offensive coordinator, offensive specialist. And he does impress. Ohio State wins the national championship this year. They were an electric offense. They were just a great team. And now he has a chance to come back into the league as an offensive coordinator. The Raiders ownership, including Tom Brady, have decided to give Chip Kelly another chance. And maybe he's learned his lesson. It's been a long time. It's been, I want to say 2017 was the last year he was in the NFL. Maybe he has changed. We haven't heard like too much about him, I feel like, since, obviously he was not the head coach last year. And even like UCLA is almost kind of like, I don't want to say obscure, but it's not one of the premier programs in college football anymore. So we didn't hear a lot about him there. And maybe because of him, and, is not one of the premier programs, at least during his tenure, but yeah, very interesting here. If you're an Eagles fan, can you, give us a kinda on the ground reporting of what Chip Kelly was like as the head coach? Because obviously, not being super plugged in to him as a Dolphins fan, I just hear, the big things, the podcast appearances that are going on to this year of how he alienated LaShawn McCoy and traded him for nothing for just, Kiko Alonso and some picks, and just, what was the Chip Kelly experience like from the ground floor? Let me know in the comments.